This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Damn, that's a stylish couch you're sitting in front of. Where are you at? You in the hotel?
Yeah, I'm in the hotel lobby restaurant of the hotel you're probably very familiar with here in
in the
Mobile,
Senior Bowl?
Alabama. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. All right. So what are you seeing around there? Do we have a lot of action, a lot of NFL folks, or is it limited because of COVID?
There are some coaches and staffers who are not here. There's a lot of media members here, more than 900. It's like SEC football media days. It reminds me of that. You know, everybody has a draft podcast. Everybody has a draft mock draft. Everybody has a draft blog. So there's a lot more media people here than maybe coaches. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going out to practice. This morning, I spent a little time with Pittsburgh quarterback Kenny Pickett, and he told me that he is mentored by Danny Marino.
Nice.
And that he was hoping to see Danny Marino, that Dan let him know that he was expected to come into town last night. I have not seen Dan Marino. I have seen Chris Greer and some other Dolphins officials. I've not seen Brian Flores. I heard he was here.
Did you ask Greer about his interview with McDaniel? How'd it go?
No, Chris is not going to give me the scoop on Mike McDaniel's interview. I can tell you this, McDaniel is expected to interview for a second time this week, but I'm not prepared to say that interview has already taken place.
Well, reports are it took place yesterday. Is that true? So you don't
Who
think
reported that? Who reported that?
I think
One
it was
person,
Schultz who
right?
reported that yesterday.
Right,
that
one
was,
person. Right,
that it was going on yesterday.
I don't know him. He might be a nice guy. I don't know, but
Mike McDaniel's Dolphins interview spanned much of the day, with McDaniel stressing to Chris Greer his plans on how to unlock Tua once a quicker passing game.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that. This is going to be like a Tom Brady agent statement. I'm not going to get into the accuracy or lack of accuracy to that particular report. At which time I'm prepared to reveal more information about Mike McDaniel's second interview. I will do so. But I believe that this is an ongoing process, that the Dolphins are taking their time, if you know what I mean.
I got you. Okay. I like that. By the way, I'll go back to the Dolphins in a second. I don't know if you ended up talking with him, but he ended up creating a little bit more of a controversy, Kenny Pickett, because he didn't measure his hands. And people are worried about his hands being too small.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Was that part of the conversation at all when you saw Kenny?
Yeah, he has the double jointed thumb, and so he has one of the smallest hand measurements of like all time. He's very sensitive about it. These hands of mine are small, I know. Mine are not small. That's Jewel, right?
Yeah.
He says, look, I threw the ball in the cold weather and the snow and the ice in Pittsburgh. Don't worry about ball security. I'm just fine. Yeah. But listen.
He's got a nice arm, dude. I like it.
If Kenny Pickett were to somehow slip all the way to 29 because someone said his hands were too small, would you be okay with the Dolphins drafting him? Another Pittsburgh quarterback mentored by Dan Marino?
I really would not. I'd rather you go get a receiver and a running back and a middle linebacker and get linemen and build this team up so you can do it instead of worrying.
It's unlikely. Yeah, it's unlikely.
But I will say this, Joe, it's intriguing because you could draft him to trade him. You know what I mean? And so that's also what you could end up doing.
Or if he's better than Tua, you just play him. I mean, it is kind of nice to have some competition.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You draft him and then you try to trade him, because while you were trying to draft him, you had calls from 3 or 4 teams that wanted to move up at that moment. So now you know if we take him, we're going to be able to trade him.
Or you just have a nice training camp competition. There's nothing wrong with that. If you think this guy is a legitimate top 12 talent and he falls to 29, let's just go ahead.
You could, but I just had this conversation with Omar. You don't do that in the NFL. Doesn't happen.
Well, RG3 and Kirk
every time
Cousins
you
is
do
the
that,
classic example.
Every time you do that, you're doing it because you don't have a quarterback, and neither guy is a quarterback.
Well, we can't
Normally in the NFL, you draft a guy, and you build around that guy. You don't create controversy.
We can't sit here and suggest that the Dolphins know on February 1st, 2022, that Tua Tagovailoa is their quarterback of the future. Unfortunately, they don't.
Maybe they do. You just don't. Maybe they're convinced that he can be the guy if you give him a line and you give him real coaching and a running game. You think he can't. I think he can. See, that's where you and I disagree on that one. That's the interesting part about this dynamic. As we've talked about this one before, you've made up your mind. He's not the guy. You know what I mean?
What if my opinion is based not just on what I see at practice? What if my opinion is based on conversations with people here at the Senior Bowl who are directors of pro personnel, general managers, scouts, and coaches?
Right.
And what if I told you that a lot of them are Tua doubters? Would you believe me? You would believe me, right?
Of course
I
don't
lie. I don't lie. So
right.
So it's not just Joe's opinion. Joe's opinion is based on the input from many experts.
I get it. And are those experts all right every time?
I don't know. We're going to find out. I mean, he's got 1 year to prove it. That's for sure.
That's the intriguing part of Tua, right?
Now at 29, so the Dolphins have the 29th pick. I just wanted to say to you, I'm looking at these offensive tackles. You got the Minnesota kid. He's 380 pounds. You got a converted tight end from Central Michigan who grew up in Austria or something. These guys, when you're picking 29, this is not like, a top 5 offensive lineman, even an Austin Jackson type offensive lineman. And these guys, who's a little bit of a developmental guy. These guys are more projects.
Yeah.
And Tua doesn't need a project at 29. Although, to be fair, the Dolphins didn't think Liam Eichenberg was a project. Orlando, they traded a 3rd-round pick to move up in the 2nd round to guarantee Liam Eichenberg.
Yep.
So let's hope that was the right decision.
Well, the wrong decision was the offensive line coach. They need a guy that can go in there, teach these guys, build up their confidence again. Joe, I think a lot of things that happened this season was they were so inept on offense that I think your initial running backs wore out and lost confidence in running behind that line. I think Tua wore out as the season wore on, taking a beating behind that line, dealing with the criticism. By the end of the year, his face was as serious as it got. He wasn't that playful, smiling guy that he normally is with you guys out there. The offensive line, I think those guys failed so much that they lost all their confidence.
Yeah, I'm going to write this down. I should do.
I don't believe that morally this team was anywhere where they needed to be to succeed. And I think they need a coaching staff that can build them up confidence-wise, that can build them up also intelligence, so they can go out there and have some success and build on it. I think that was a worn-out offense that knew they had no chance because of that coaching staff. I really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, people, including me, believe it or not, we like hope. And so you've given me an idea. I'm going to do top 5 reasons for some Tua hope, or hope in Tua. People like lists. I like lists. It makes it easy to kind of formulate your thoughts in a really easy way to present it. So, number 1 would be, hey, this guy gets away from Brian Flores. Maybe Brian Flores beat him up mentally. He didn't think that Brian trusted in him. So that would be certainly on the list.
How many times you go tell your kid you love him every day? Bunch of times, right? Right?
Well, you'd like to hope that they know, but yeah.
Right. I mean, I tell my daughter 100 times a day I love her.
Telling them is good. Showing them is probably...
And showing them, loving them, hugging them, whatever they want, right?
Wasn't drafting Jalen Waddle a sign of love?
What's
Wasn't
that?
that we're doing this for you, Tua?
No, keeping Jacoby Brissett starting and putting you on the sidelines when you can play is not love.
He was hurt, right?
And you know what you did
That
in the
was an
first year.
injury
is pulling.
situation.
You know what I mean? It's just he showed no love. You know what I mean? Any relationship has to be nurtured. There was no nurturing in that relationship because the pouting child did not get what he wanted because he didn't want that quarterback. So since he didn't get that quarterback, he wasn't going to play games with everybody else. That was the problem there. It's
There's
hard.
reasons to believe that the quarterback will be better. Yeah, you talk about increased health, a different coaching staff, maybe the addition of a key offensive line free agent, another receiver. Yeah, there's reasons to believe that the Dolphins offense can be better. If you bring in a Mike McDaniel, who I would think is the leading candidate at this time, more so than Jim Harbaugh. I know eventually you get around to Jim Harbaugh. It's my educated opinion that Mike McDaniel is far more likely than Jim Harbaugh.
And by the way, stop saying Schad is a Tua hater. He's not a believer. Okay? Tua's impossible to hate, right? Isn't it true? He's impossible.
Yeah,
to hate.
I don't hate anybody. Hate's a strong word.
Yeah. You're not. He's not. He may not be a believer, but Tua's he's impossible to hate, bro. It's like Tim Tebow. You can believe or not believe that Tim Tebow can play, but you can't hate Tim Tebow. It's impossible. It's not humanly normal to hate Tim Tebow. You gotta love Tim Tebow. You know what I'm saying? So
if you go back, I wrote 100 articles about the reasons why the Dolphins should draft Tua Tagovailoa. Believe me, I don't want to be wrong. I'd much rather be right.
No, I know. Well, I know you'd rather cover a winning team. All right, let's wrap it up with this. Mike McDaniel. I'm with you. I've said that Dable was their one and McDaniel was their two. Their one is gone. Two is McDaniel. I think this is the guy that's going to get the job. I don't believe Harbaugh's in the mix at all whatsoever. So talk to me a little bit about McDaniel. What are you expecting in this? And when is this decision going to be made? Do you have any feel for it? We asked Omar, and he had no feel for it.
Well, Super Bowl week is next week, right?
Yes, sir.
So I would think the Dolphins would prefer to have an announcement and press conference by Sunday because you don't want to get into that Super Bowl week. So that's my prediction. Okay, we'll have a press conference Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Do you like how? Like, I'm not a fan of what's happened with Philbin. I mean, with Philbin and what's it called with Flo, that they had trouble building staffs. So we're watching with the Giants that they're going to keep Graham, the defensive coordinator. Now they have 2 years of working together, so they kind of know each other.
They lost Ken Dorsey. He's staying with the Bills.
Yeah. Ken Dorsey, good for you, Ken Dorsey. You did the smart move and stayed with the Bills. That would have been such a chump move to go with them to the Giants. That would have been terrible. Stay there, bro. Make your mark. Anyway, so he's keeping the defensive coordinator. He inherited the quarterback. Young coach. It's hard to build staffs as a young coach. Miami hires a young coach. Do you find it a positive, even though I don't like the human Jenga normally, but in this case, with McDaniel, if he does inherit the staff, there is some continuity there. So there was none on offense, so that's what you're fixing. It kind of does make sense in a way early on for McDaniel to kind of come in and not have to worry right away about a defensive staff.
I think that there would be a retention of some coaches, but I wouldn't assume that all coaches would stay.
Right.
Even though McDaniel is a young guy, he's coached in the National Football League for 14 years. He's coached on numerous staffs, 4 or so different NFL teams. So he actually has a pretty decent web of coaching history. 49ers, Browns, Washington, and maybe Houston or something. So he knows a lot of coaches. And remember, when coaches lose their jobs, their coordinators and other top coaches lose their jobs. So there's some good coaches available. I think he'll do a decent job with his staff. And I do think if you can retain some defensive guys, that'd be good too.
All right, follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. What are you working on the Palm Beach Post so folks can please subscribe and then check him out? What's up?
Yeah, go to the Palm Beach Post website. Go to my Twitter account, Schad Joe, and you'll find the story I wrote about Kenny Pickett and how he has a good role model in Dan Marino. Seems unlikely, but is there any chance the Dolphins would consider drafting a sliding first-round quarterback from Pittsburgh with the 29th pick? Who knows?
There he is. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. Joe, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up later in the week, my friend. Enjoy Mobile.
See you, bud.
I'm jealous.
All right, thanks.
Later. There you go.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.